YouTube family and podcast family. Just want to welcome you to Happy Crappy Hour. Oh, what number is this one? 7, I think. So I'm glad that we're all going to be getting on today. I have lots of stuff to talk about, but also I want to hear from you guys about your happy this week and your crappy this week. What went well, what didn't go well. So things that you're going to keep doing that went well, and things that you're going to stop doing because, well, it doesn't work out, right? So I'm going to tell you about my happy and crappy this week. Oh, let me see. Guess what? I started a happy crappy journal. Yeah. Like, oh, this is a good idea. It's almost like a gratitude journal. And maybe a little bit better because, things that you're happy about, obviously you're going to be grateful for. But also it gets you to think about if you're grateful for it, then you're going to want to continue to do it. You want to continue to add to it. All right, let me see what I wrote down for my happy and crappy this week. My happy this week is that, on Saturday, we're going to go see a comedian live. So I'm pretty excited about that, going out on a date to go see a comedian. I think it's going to be awesome, lots of laughs. I don't really ever go out to see comedians. I just watch them on video. So this is going to be cool. Another happy is that I spent a lot of quality time this week with family and friends. And I started noticing that sometimes I take the easy way out and kind of don't engage when I'm with people. You just kind of sit back and enjoy their company, which is great. But this time I really engaged and we played a lot of games, which is not something I usually like to do. It's like, I got to get over that, the initial resistance, right, that I have to playing games. But then once I get in there, I really enjoy it, and I enjoy the interaction with my friends and with my family. And it does draw you closer when you share some laughs. It's a good time. That reminds me of a friend I had where the only time we ever spent together was when, actually, it's a few friends, not just one. There were several friends I've had where the times I would spend with them is usually when they needed someone to listen to their problems. They needed someone to bail them out of something. They needed someone to, for a ride or some kind of favor. And, being a good friend, I'd come. But then I started realizing, we don't really share a whole lot of laughs. We don't really share a whole lot of the good times. So kind of found out or learned later on that that's not really a healthy relationship. And those friendships actually did not last. So, those are the kind of friendships that became a burden. And I'm actually glad they didn't last because now I have actual friendships that we laugh a lot. We get together and we share a lot of good times. We also share a few tears. So, really good friendships. So I'm talking about my happies this week, you guys. So if you want to come join in, tell me what your happies this week is or were, and what your crappies were. And for new viewers and new to happy hour people, I want to tell you that happies and crappies are the good things that happened this week and the bad things that happened this week and what we learned from them. The good things hopefully are things that you're going to continue doing, and the crappies are things that you realize are crappy, right? So you're going to stop doing them. So my happies again were, I'm going to go see a comedian. I spent a lot of quality time with family and friends, laughing, doing things, not taking the easy way out like games. It takes a lot for me to sit down and be still. So to sit down and play a game was like, kind of excruciating at first. But then once I get into it, boy, I have a really good time. And then also I got to see the Lego movie, the new one. Yay. And that was a lot of fun. My crappy this week was that I had a setback. I had an emotional setback because something went wrong in my life, and I didn't bounce back really quickly. The initial reaction is, crud, you get disappointed, and then you're disappointed in yourself, and you do a little negative self-talk, which is not good. So I did fall into that a little bit this week, and that was my crappy. And that's when I realized, you know what, I have a choice to make here, and I can let what happened defeat me, or I can put that in its own category. And that category is it was a lesson in the school of hard knocks. So it was a lesson to learn, in the school of hard knocks. And that's what I did. I learned from it. And I called it my little learning curve, where I looked at what happened, the setback I had, the negative talk I gave myself. And I decided, what the heck, that's ridiculous. Why am I, then now doubting myself and putting myself down for something that went wrong? I'm going to learn from this. And I did. I learned from it, and I got better, made some good choices, healthy choices, and I'll tell you about that in a little bit. Meanwhile, I want to say good morning to some of my viewers here. Good morning, Kathy. She says hi to Oscar. This is Oscar, if you guys don't know. He's holding a plaque today. It says, "In the middle of difficulty always lies opportunity." And that's kind of our theme today because of the crappies that happen to us, right? When crappies happen to us, it's real easy to feel defeated and give in and start the negative talk about either the other people or about yourself. And neither of that is good for you. So you guys, Miss E says hello, hi. And Bree, good morning. Just Be Real, hi. Good to see you. I think you're new. That's awesome. Glad to have you. So you guys, let me know what your happies and crappies were this week. I was really excited about my lesson, actually. So I started working out again. I know I kind of took a few days off, probably 4 or 5 days actually. And I don't know. It doesn't take very long for me to turn to mush, unfortunately. And then I also noticed, that affects my attitude too. When I don't work out, and I'm not talking about like a 2-hour workout or even an hour workout or even a half-hour workout. If you watched any of my videos, you'll know that I promote doing a 2-minute workout. And just 2 minutes, I'm serious. It turns sometimes into 5 minutes because I'm feeling really good. But I do a 2-minute workout every day, and I'll probably start doing more of a 5 to 10 minute workout to that at some point. But for now, 2 minutes is great, and it gets my blood pumping, and I get stronger. And I actually notice my body toning up for just 2 minutes. And what I do are lunges. Those are amazing. You have to engage your gut. I know I'm giving you a lot of information here, but you have to engage your gut, which means you tighten your gut, and before you start your lunge, and you hold on to that tight gut as you do your lunges. Anyway, I built some ab muscles that way. Just want to encourage you, and leg muscles. So we've got some more people coming on. Hi, Marietta. I should also start 2-minute workouts. Yes, do it. I really, I was so surprised. Really, I was shocked that these 2-minute workouts really work. 5 minutes the most. Yeah. Crystal Jean, hi. Good to see you guys. Maria, hello, Oscar, and sweet lady who is talking. Thank you. I know. What do you guys call me? I don't know. Just hot. I don't know. I haven't had a name yet, but thank you. Bree, good morning. Good to see you guys. Oh, I think I already said hi to Bree. All right. Kathy says, my crappy. Dog sitting for my daughter. I stepped in dog poo in the dark. Oh, that's so gross. So gross. Yeah, I have stepped in dog puke in the dark before because my dog was sick. Heard her hacking. So I got out of bed to try to pick her up before she threw up on the rug, and it's dark. So I go towards her, and of course I step right in her puddle of puke, which was so gross. And then of course you get up and you have to clean that mess up, and you clean her up. Oh my gosh. Ew, so gross. Well, it is crappy. I agree with you, Kathy. But it's funny in hindsight. Okay, Miss E says, Hi, Crystal. Yeah, to prevent that, you know what? When she was sick, what we did is we started putting her in a kennel, a little kennel, until she wasn't sick anymore. It doesn't hurt her. It was just until she wasn't sick anymore, and then she was able to come back out. Oh, yeah. Missy says, I've stepped in cat puke barefoot. Yep. It's so gross. And it squishes. Ah, anyway, yes. Marietta says, my happy. I'm seeing friends tomorrow and going in monastery for a spiritual renewal. Oh, that's cool. Very nice. I've done that too, actually. They have one near us, and I don't know if it's a monastery or convent. I guess it's a monastery. I don't know, but not like there weren't like a bunch of monks there or anything like that. It's sort of like a spiritual retreat. Anyway, it was really good. It's nice. Kathy sends these green, yucky, sick faces. Yes, true. Marietta says, crappy nostalgia flashbacks. Still, yes. Yep, we get those. I get those sometimes for people who are toxic to me, but I remember some of the good times, some of the emotional ties I've had with them. Um, and I'm trying to figure this out. My thinking is we can compartmentalize that. You can put it in a box, the happy times, and put it away. Maybe you'll never come back to look at that box again because you've moved on with your life. But maybe at some point in your life, you get healthy and strong minded enough that you can visit that box and go, okay, that was part of my life. And it was, a horrible part in some ways, in probably a lot of ways. But it also showed you the possibilities and some goodness. And you were able to feel really great emotions, during that time. And for me, I want to say it's less and less. I realize that a lot of those good times were not real. And even though the emotions felt very real, the circumstances were fake. So, what that teaches me is I'm capable, though, of feeling really good. I'm capable of having a really great connection with people, but now I seek it in healthy relationships. And I focus on making sure that the relationships I have now remain healthy. All right, let's see what some of you guys are talking about here. So, yeah, that crappy, if it doesn't help, if you're not feeling, I'm talking to Marietta about this, having flashbacks and nostalgia about your toxic ex or toxic friendship. You're having these flashbacks and you're missing the person. You're thinking, should I call them? Should I reignite this friendship? Should we reconnect? And the answer is no. It's so toxic. You know what? It's not to say that you can't be nice to them if you see them in the street. That's true. Be nice and treat them the way you would treat a stranger. You wouldn't, treat a stranger badly. Just be polite, be nice. Anyway, but if you can't go back and these flashbacks keep happening, you have to find something that will wake you up. Wake you up to the reality and the truth of what it was so you don't start to feel nostalgic and want to go back. I call that going back to your puke. Oh, the Bible has a scripture that says it's like a dog that returns to its vomit when you go back to sinful stuff. But I equate that also to being pulled back to toxic relationships. It's like going back to vomit. You forgot like how awful and smelly and putrid it was. You only, you how do I say this? You think about the fake happiness or the fake situation you were in with that person. And you build up that person to the point where suddenly the puke looks attractive. Anyway, that's what you got to see it as. um, Marietta says, what's the difference between a monastery and convent? I think a monastery is supposed to be for men and convents are supposed to be for women, but I'm not sure. I think that's it. Maybe some of you guys will know. Oh, Mary, that is a spiritual retreat. You know what? But sometimes they call them a monastery or convent. I believe the one that I went to, they called a monastery. Although I didn't see, any, I don't know what that means. Like why they called it a monastery, because there were no monks living there. So, or maybe it used to be a monastery. I don't know. Miss E or Kathy says she's feeling this way too, the nostalgia. I know, you guys. If you are new to my channel, one of the things I recommend a lot is making a list. Maybe you guys don't see it in the videos, but in the comments, a lot of times I make that recommendation to make a list of all the awful things that the ex or your ex-friend had done if you need a reminder when you're feeling nostalgic, a reminder of the reality and the truth of what happened. And that pretty much snaps you out of the nostalgia. Like, okay, I'm back to reality again. And you feel so much better. You feel so much peace come over you, and you feel back in control. Yeah, Maria says, this one is held by Franciscans where I'm going. Yeah, so they probably do call it a monastery. So and I think maybe that's what it is. A monastery is probably a retreat for men to separate from the world, the secular world, to meditate on God. And same thing for convents, I believe, might be like a retreat or an area that's spiritual for women to separate from the secular world and focus on God. So that would be my definition. We should look up Webster's or something, right? Miss E says, the sun is out in Colorado too today. Woohoo! Oh, wait. That's great. Where I am, the sun is not quite out. So it's a little cloudy. Crystal says, I've had a tough week, not gonna lie, but I have my wonderful sons that live with me, and they're amazing, loving boys. Yay! Very good. I'm so glad for you, Crystal, that you have your boys and that they're good kids. And that, you know what, that just warms my heart, because I love that. I spent some time with a friend yesterday, and we were kind of nostalgic about her son because he's off at boot camp, and she's missing him so much. And it just warms my heart to see the connection between a mother and her children, especially moms and sons. And of course her daughter, she loves her daughters like crazy. So it's just so sweet to see. I wonder if the son ever really knows how much his mom loves him, and I know he loves her too. I know she's been writing letters of encouragement to him, which is awesome, and he's been writing back, which is good. Marietta says, dog returning to the puke. Good analogy. It is. When they do, right? Dogs go back and they'll eat it. You're like, oh, that's so disgusting. So disgusting. So Crystal says, yeah, it was vomit. Yeah. You're saying that the tough week you had, or was it yeah. Crystal, returning to vomit, the Lord is pretty straightforward. Yeah, right? I love it. Very straightforward. I was not always a Christian, and I remember when I first started reading Proverbs. Even if you're not a Christian, read Proverbs. It is so chock full of wisdom. I was really shocked. I was like, what? All of this? It's right here. It's a beautiful book of wisdom to live your life by. And anyway, I just think it's awesome. You guys, so another thing I wanted to talk about today was, so I know this narcissist who's in jail. And at first you're thinking, I thought, yes, he deserves to be there. But I'm learning that he's actually getting healthier while he's in jail. What the heck? So he's working out. He's got all this time on his hands now, and he's actually getting healthier, physically healthier. I don't know about mentally healthier, but he's getting physically healthier. And my first thought was, oh, heck no, you are not going to outlive me. I know, very childish. But And this person could outlive me. That's fine, whatever. But my thinking is, why? You know what? I'm gonna get healthier. I'm gonna get back on my workout routine. I'm gonna, heck, I'm gonna get stronger. And that just made me think about motivation and how, interestingly enough, anger motivates you. It really does. If you use it right, it'll motivate you in the right direction, in a healthy direction. And that's what I want to leave you guys with today, definitely, is that if you're angry, if you're resentful, use that. Use that to motivate you to get stronger, to get better, to get healthier, to be more successful, to become more involved at work, to be engaged in life, to enjoy your life. Get that motivation from your anger or resentment. And the reason for, I think, anger is such an amazing and powerful motivator is because it's a passion. It awakens a passionate feeling inside of you. And it really is. Anger is very passionate. So that's why, they, in a court of law, they do recognize crimes of passion. And meaning not like crimes of passion where, oh, I'm so in love with this person, but crimes of passion where anger just takes over you. And this passionate feeling overrides all of your sanity, all of your senses, which is horrible. So that's why I say use anger, though, in a positive way. Use anger to work out harder. Use anger to run a little longer. Use anger to focus, get really focused on your career, like, buckle down and get stuff done. Like, the heck with this. I'm going to be as productive as I can. Use anger to wake yourself up, early, an hour or two early every morning to do something for yourself, to do a study, to meditate, to spend time with God, whatever it is, to work out, to read a book. Use that anger to motivate yourself to take steps, start making good choices. And that brings us back, look at this, you guys, to this plaque. In the middle of difficulty always lies opportunity. And the opportunity is there. You have to make a choice, though. You have to make that choice, what you're going to do with it. And that's with, when I started at the beginning of this, my crappy was that I had a setback. And at first, my reaction was not good. My reaction during that difficult time was starting the negative talk, telling myself, I can't do this. Who am I? I'm not capable. All this junk that I started telling myself. I'm like, the heck with that. and I almost allowed the negative talk that I remember from other people. I don't want to go into who they were, but mainly, people I was raised by. People I grew up with who gave me a lot of negative talk, who put me down, who blamed me for stuff. And when you've been raised in a family with narcissists, you're going to get a lot of that. You don't come out very healthy minded. You don't come out with a strong self-perception. You come out quite crushed, But I almost started replaying their words in my life. And I was like, the heck with that. I'm not listening to their words anymore. So in that moment of difficulty, in that moment of defeat, I chose not to do that. And I turned. It's like I did a U-turn. And I started telling myself, well, in this moment of defeat, what do I learn? What did I learn about myself? What did I learn about this other person? What did I learn about my reaction in this moment? And that's when I made some good choices. So that's where the opportunity is. Once you start making those good choices, things start looking up and opportunities started opening up to me. And some of the good choices I made, by the way, was spending quality time with people. I had a friend call me up and say she wanted to get together because some things were happening in her life that she wanted to share with me, like some big news, and multiple, actually. She had several news, I don't know how you say it, not news stories, but she had several things to tell me that were changing in her life. And at first I thought, I've got all this work to do. I've got a lot of things I've got to get done, errands to run. I've got, And I started listing all these things. And then I thought, you know what? Are those things more important than her? No. I decided, no, they're not. In fact, she's more important. She's more important than any of these things that I have to do. So I went and spent some time with her. And it was such a blessing. It was a good time. And I'm so glad I did that. All right, you guys, I'm going to catch up with some of these comments you're making. Ooh, let me see. Here we go. Kathy says, Colorado is on my bucket list. Yeah. You know what? The heck with a bucket list. How about a living list? Just go and live. I hate that term, bucket list. Ugh, before I die. Ugh. I'm sorry. Like, it's on my list to do, to live. Yeah. Marietta, let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Ooh. Robbed of her. Hey, this is from Proverbs. Robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Interesting. I'm not quite sure if that had other things, words that went with it, because I'm not quite sure what to say about that one. Kathy says, yep, Proverbs and Psalms, awesome encouragement. Oh, you associate it with narcs. Okay, I see what you're going with here. Marietta says, let a man meet a she-bear robbed of her cubs rather than a fool in his folly. Yeah, because she'll protect her cubs, right? But we need to protect ourselves as well from narcissists that are wanting to take advantage of us like fools, and we don't need to fall into that. Okay. Crystal Jean says, my relationship with my narc took me away from my strong faith. He always pretended he had some sort of belief in God. Last summer, he actually told me he didn't believe in Christ. It was a wow. Yeah, a lot of people fake, and that's the really frustrating part, because a lot of people will look at him and say, during the time that he professed to be Christian, all right, or Catholic, or I'm not sure, Mormon, I'm not sure what the faith was, but whatever he professed to be, then people are going to say, when he behaved badly, well, that's what Christians do. And it's like, no, there are a lot of people who profess to be Christians, but they're not really, right? They don't. But then a lot, people on the outside will look at that and believe, though, if you profess that you are, then you are just this horrible person, and Christians must all be horrible people. Anyway, there are times, by the way, there are Christians that are misled. Okay, Miss E, motivational anger. I was talking about that earlier. Let your anger motivate you to do good. Take the opportunity, right? Take the opportunity, take that anger and put it to good use. Work out, push yourself a little bit harder. Work out, get up and actually get into a routine. Every time you wake up angry, it's like, the heck with this, go for a run. Start doing your lunges, start doing push-ups. And you know what? It feels so good. Positive vibrations. Good morning. Oh, that's okay that you're late. Oh my gosh. Kathy says, Crystal, my narc too, said he didn't believe in Christ, I guess. One time he said he was God. Alrighty then. Well, that's a good time to run the other direction. Crystal says, it makes sense though. I don't think there can possibly be a narcissist that is a child of God. Oil and water. I don't know. I've been asked that too. You would think about it. I think there are narcissists who could possibly believe in God and Jesus. I mean, I don't know, truly more than, I can't tell you. I don't know. I really don't know. Missy, I'm making a choice to move that jerk out of my head. Yes, make that choice. I'm so sick of thinking about him. I've had enough. It's difficult, but seems to be working. I know what he is. Yes, and if you need to, refer back to your list. just I keep a mental list. I don't actually keep a physical list anymore. I have enough, and I make it a short list. It doesn't have to be, a list of 50 things or 20 things. A list of a good 4 or 5 things. Oh, by the time I get to the third thing that this person has done to me, I'm quite over it. I'm quite over wondering if I should call them and reconnect or anything like that or restart the friendship. I'm like, no, I'm actually so much happier now without these people in my life. Kathy says righteous anger. I guess that could be righteous anger. At least using anger in a righteous way, right? You don't want anger to overtake you and cause you to make bad choices and that are going to just hurt you and destroy your life and destroy those around you. Oh, I think that's how narcissists use anger though, and they can't help it. They're just very emotional, very volatile people. So they will give into their anger like that. But also, I have seen narcissists, out of anger, push themselves harder to succeed. So I'm just like, okay, I'm gonna do that too, man. Especially like I've been telling you, the narcissist that I know who's in jail is pushing themselves really hard to become more physically fit. And I'm just, because that person is resentful towards the people who put him in jail. So I guess he's gonna try to best those who put him in jail. Anyway, and I'm thinking, you know what? If you can do that in jail, I can do that out here in my free world where I get to make good choices for myself, and I'm gonna do that. Yeah, Marietta says, my crazy ex was highly religious but total hypocrite. So I want you guys to know, those of you who are listening who are not, don't believe in religion, don't believe in God and all that, please know that people of religion generally do try to be better and they kind of cling to religion, not just out of fear. A lot of people don't cling to it because of fear. They actually want to become better people. And actually, there's this comedian that I listen to. I don't really recommend him because he's very, very crass. And well, anyway, I don't know. I do like him though because he's hilarious to me. He has such incredible insight. I don't know if you guys are gonna want to hear this. Don't unsubscribe because of this, okay? No, I don't know if I'm gonna say his name. But he all of his career for up until, let me think how old he is now. He's in his 40s. So pretty much into his early 40s, he mocked Christians and pretty much anybody of faith, but especially Christians. And now he's going to church. And the last interview I saw of him, and I think it was probably a couple months old, I'm not sure, but he said, yeah, I'm going to church. He goes, I might not really believe in God, but I kind of think like I need something that helps me to check myself, to not be a jerk anymore. And I was like, yay! If he goes to church, to hear words that will challenge him to stop being a jerk. Essentially, that's what he said. That's why he's going to church right now. And yay, I'm glad for him. Oh, I see. Kathy says you'd be better off to tangle with a mama bear than to hang with the foolish. Oh, okay. Thank you. That does make sense. Yeah. Okay. Let a man go, okay, run into a mama bear protecting her cubs rather than get into the folly of fools. Yes. Okay. That totally makes sense. That was in Proverbs. That's how bad it is. I mean, that's what Proverbs is trying to tell us. That's how bad it is if you should get into folly or the foolishness of narcissists or toxic people or those who are cheating and, who are fools. Seriously. It would be better for you to be torn up by a mama bear protecting her cubs. Yep. Marietta. Let me see. Better be off. Okay, that was Kathy. Right. I think the most religious narcs use religion as a cover to fool other people into thinking that they are solid, good people with morals. Marietta says that. Yeah, absolutely. I have seen that, and I mean, they're on their own quest. They actually narcissists actually try to find peace in their life. They don't know um, what's keeping peace from them, and when they sit in church or synagogue or a mosque or something, they probably for a moment feel some kind of peace, and they think, okay, there's something here, and so they keep going back to see if they can get it, but they don't realize the work has to be done from the inside. They need to change from the inside. Kathy says, oh, Marietta, they're a church rat. Yeah, some of them are. Some of them live in church. Like they go every opportunity to every function, and they sign up to help in everything because they want to immerse themselves around people who are tolerant and giving and willing to put up with them, actually. And that's if you go to a nice church. There's some churches that don't put up with people and they're kind of cold feeling, and, you don't want to, I don't know. Crystal says, so is it a coincidence that Netflix is carrying a bunch of new programs about narcs? Ted Bundy tapes, Fire Festival, Abducted in Plain Sight. Oh, there's one called You. I wonder what that is. And then Dirty John. I know. Have you guys seen that? Oh, I didn't know it was on Netflix. I saw it on YouTube, and I think it was like a 48 hours or something like that, or it was some show, but it was 2 hours, almost a 2 hour documentary about this guy. His friends actually called him Filthy John, but the documentary is called Dirty John. It will blow your mind. Everything he did gives you an idea, or it's like looking into a narcissist and how he had no sense, no conscience. Oh, by the way, this is a book that I've been reading. I put it down for a while. I'm about halfway through now, but it's called Without Conscience by Robert Hare, and the disturbing world of the psychopaths among us. And Robert Hare, I think, became a psychologist back in the 70s, and he started doing studies on prisoners because it's a captive audience, to find narcissistic psychopaths. He noticed that not all criminals are psychopaths, not all people who are in prisons are narcissists, but he wanted to study the ones that were. So he kind of went, he interviewed several, he did therapy with many of them, and he was able to identify the ones that were narcissistic, that were psychopathic. And he wrote this book talking about a lot of the other psychopaths that have been in the media, like Ted Bundy. He lists a lot of them, and I don't really follow a lot of psychopaths, but I'm learning about some of them. Anyway, it's a pretty interesting book he talks about. And then he talks about how there are a lot of those who are among us, they don't all end up in jail. So they live among us. He identifies some of the characteristics of the ones that he encountered, and we can actually see some of those characteristics of those people, of the narcissists or psychopaths that live among us. Pretty crazy. Miss E says, oh, wait, I'm missing some of these. I'm sorry. Let me go back and take a look at some of these comments. You guys are making really awesome comments. So Crystal, Jean, I know there is such a focus right now on narcissists. Dr. Phil wrote a book called Life Code, and I really highly recommend that book. In it, the first half of it, he talks about narcissists, essentially. He calls them baiters. Those are people who will bait you, get you entangled in their web and then use you and in their, along the way, destroy you. And he wants to teach us how to identify them. Oh, I love the way he talks about it, because he says it's like teaching and learning about anything. You teach your children how to avoid danger by talking to them about it. by helping them identify what danger looks like. So he says that's what we have to do with narcissists or baiters. And he does mention narcissists in his book because he considers baiters are very narcissistic. He said that in order for us to not fall into the traps of these baiters, we need to talk about it. We need to learn about what these traps are. Makes sense? So anyway, it's really good. I would recommend it because also the other half of his book talks about how then to repair yourself, how then to work on yourself, which is good. I think that's really good. I didn't really go into detail about his book, but I think I did in one of my videos a little bit. Miss E, my ex told me he had someone under mind control. Talk about a reason to run. I think I was one of them, the things I let slide. I know, right? They're very proud of that. They think that they're so special. Narcissists are so special that they can control people, and they are proud of it. If you watch Dirty John, that's what he did, and very blatantly. He knew he could control people's minds. He knew he could control how they behaved. And the ones he couldn't control, you'll see at the end what happens, but he tries to destroy them, tries to get rid of them. And I don't know if he had done this to others. Who knows if he's killed other people and got away with it. It's insane. Crystal says, Maria, I agree 100%. They will become anything to trick people into believing they are wonderful and have morals. Yeah, those are the ones that sit in churches or pretend to be religious and to capture people who want to give people the benefit of the doubt, right? I don't know, those of you who don't go to church, those of you who are not Christian, you may not know this, but a lot of teachings that go on in church is to give people a second chance, to forgive them, to give them the benefit of the doubt. Who are we to judge? I know that sounds very hypocritical because a lot of people judge. It's kind of human nature, so don't blame just Christians for that. It's human nature to judge and be critical. But we are taught to put down our defenses, essentially, and accept people who are broken, who are messed up, who are, who are damaging, to give them a second chance. And we got to be very careful about that. And we do. We want to be kind and loving, but we have to be wise. That's the other part of it. It's good to be tolerant. It's good to be loving, but you need to also be wise and make good decisions for yourself and set up boundaries. So, okay, Miss E, that's crazy. Oh wait, here Miss E says, oh my gosh, Dirty John was one of the best documentaries I've seen on the subject. There is an epidemic of narcissism. Have you noticed all the new narc counselors on YouTube? Very helpful for me anyway. Yes, I think that's really great that there are counselors with understanding now of narcissism, which I kind of wonder how they never got that training before, because they need to help their clients who are being abused by narcissists. A lot of times counselors will blame the victim or put the responsibility on the victim, as if you can treat the narcissist with logic. You can't. Anyway, it's really good. I think it's really good that there are counselors now, many more, who are being trained on narcissism and narcissistic abuse. And maybe a lot of them come from narcissistic abuse, and that's why they understand it so well, which I think is helpful. Kathy, trouble that drives you to Jesus is a priceless gift. Yeah. Crystal says, Miss E, that's crazy. They let creepy things slip when they think they've got you under their control. Yeah, I think that has to do with the mind control thing. Narcissists will brag that they control other people, and they watch. It's like a what do you call it? A psychological experiment for them to see how far they can go, how far they can make somebody do things, or what they can make somebody do. Yeah, it's horrible, actually. Marietta, you know how some channels state that narcs are demonically possessed? I wouldn't completely write that off. My ex even tried to seduce a priest in a subtle way. That's kinda not godly, if not straight. Yeah, that's the thing too. Yes. The narcissist we knew, or one of the narcissists we knew, tried to seduce, was definitely seductive with women, but also bizarrely affectionate, like physical touching with men. And I was like, in a way, I kind of was wondering, is that to try, because a straight, I don't want to say straight, I want to say a man who's not a narcissist, uh, I don't think would do that if they're straight. Anyway, demonic. Yeah, the demonic term for that, you guys, is Jezebel, the Jezebel spirit. And that actually was what started me on my journey of learning about narcissism, because I heard somebody talk about the Jezebel spirit. And I was like, well, what does that mean? So I started looking up in YouTube and on Google and some articles about what is a Jezebel spirit. And it has to do with this woman, and I don't know her story entirely in the Bible, but she seduced a king um, in old Israel, I guess. She seduced a king and convinced him to kill his enemies in a horrible way. So she was able to take him, kind of mind control him, right? And they talk about the Jezebel spirit now, where this spirit will overtake a person. Um, yeah, and that's why people talk about the demonic stuff. I think it's more than just that, because I don't think it's limited to this Jezebel spirit. I think that some people really are just born narcissists. Psychopaths are born narcissists. And I'm not sure. I don't think it's a spirit. Although I think, the explanation for Jezebel spirit, I can agree with that. Miss E, it is an epidemic. Crystal says this. That's not an accident. If you do have faith, it looks very much like a spiritual war. Yeah. Yeah. Miss E says it's a literal battle between good and evil. Marietta. He was on a holiday with his priest friend and daily confessed, masturbation to him, as if he wanted to paint a picture inside his mind. And he, the ex, also messaged that priest every night before sleep. Yeah, it's kind of weird. It's like tempting, right? It's trying to get into the mind of another person to see if you can tempt them into doing something they're taught not to do, right? For a priest, masturbation is bad. So they are taught to resist that. And to your ex, he's trying to see if he can tempt the priest by talking about it incessantly. Oh my gosh. I'm sorry, you guys. This is really taking a turn here. I hope that there are those who are on here aren't feeling too uncomfortable about all this spiritual talk. Crystal Jean says, you and Dirty John are shows, not documentaries, for your information. Oh. Okay. What? There's a show called, so like episodes? On oh, wow. And You is another show with episodes. Okay. I'll look into that. I actually watched a documentary on Dirty John where they interviewed his last wife, and they interviewed the victims of his attack, or victim of his attack, right? And they interviewed his past friends from childhood who grew up with him, or at least through high school. I think even more than that. They knew each other like 11 years, and he totally just threw his friend under the bus. It was, yeah, what narcissists do. It's insane. So that's what I had watched, was a documentary, a 2 hour. I would think it was about 2 hours. Miss E says Dirty John documentary was by Oxygen Network. It was pirated and put on YouTube, deleted and re-uploaded by another. Oh, okay. Yeah, I think I'm trying to remember. It was sort of like, it wasn't a 48 hours, but it was something like that. Let me see. There's a Dirty John, Dirty Truth documentary, also 2 hours. I downloaded just to keep it. Yeah, that might have been the thing, the Dirty Truth. That might have been what I saw. Uh, Crystal says, I agree, Kathy. That has been the true gift through all of this. I know, whatever gets you to a healing relationship with God, I think is worth it. Crystal, Miss E. Okay. It says it's based on true events. That's the first you heard of him. Okay. Crystal was saying that. Okay, yeah, I didn't watch episodes or a show. I actually watched a documentary where they interviewed the victims and all the people who, not all, but a lot of the people who were involved in his life. They had footage of the wedding between him and his first wife, and I think they also interviewed the first wife in this documentary as well. Yeah, I know they did. And they interviewed past girlfriends that he had, like his first serious girlfriend, whom he used, and she said that he used her to cut his teeth on. Is how she felt like she completely fell for him and thought they were in love and thought they were going to be married and all this. And one day, the same day that he says to her, I miss you and I want to be with you, and he headed out to work, which was actually some illegal stuff that he was doing. I think he was selling drugs, and she never saw him again. Like he just walked out of her life after he just told her how much he wanted to spend his life with her and how much he wanted to be with her. Yeah, he could do that. He can say these things and then just walk out, close the door, never see this person again. And she was devastated, of course, and she talked about how healing from that emotional trauma was so hard for her. She was so damaged. So, you guys, if you haven't seen Dirty John, I would recommend it because it just opens your eyes to how you dodged a bullet by walking away. There's so many other stories out there too. There was this documentary. I'm trying to remember what it was. I think it was a Dateline or a 2020 where they talked about this guy who, if you can look it up, it's like the furniture salesman king, something like that. Furniture salesman. I don't know what else went with it, but it was this guy who was like the king furniture salesman, I don't know, in his town. And he was really well known and respected. And this woman met him through a dating site. And of course, they had this whirlwind affair or, romance. And he swept her off her feet, took her to these beautiful, expensive dinners and vacations. And then he proposed to her in the most romantic way at an expensive dinner with champagne and whatnot. And a giant, I forget how many carat diamond ring or whatever it was. And of course, she's like, oh my gosh, he just totally swept her off her feet. Come to find out, he totally used her. And the story goes on to something about him he was telling her that he was hired by the CIA to do something something to do with the drug rings in South America, that they wanted him to go in undercover for them or something like that. So ridiculous. That he actually faked his own death, and she helped him fake his death from the US authorities. And then one day they came, it's just, you have to watch this whole show. It's so insane. It's so much insanity. And this is reality. This is real. This is not a book. This is not a made up drama. He ended up coming back to the US after he faked his death somewhere in Mexico or South America. I can't remember. Or maybe Central America. I can't remember. But he faked his death. And then after a while, he came back on a fake passport to live here in the US with his wife. She rejoined him, and one day the FBI comes knocking on their door, and she's in shock, and she has no idea what's going on, and she so believed his lies that she lied to the FBI for him. And of course, she got charged with lying and obstructing justice and all that, right? Lying to the FBI and police and obstructing justice. And she ended up now serving a sentence. I don't know if she's off that, if she's done her full sentence or not. Last thing on the show is that she was under house arrest, and she was just a broken woman. She's devastated. Everything she had is now gone. Like before she met him, she had a job, She had a car. I think she had her own house. Now she's living with her daughter because she lost everything. She lost her house, she lost her car, she lost her job, and she's under house arrest. Now she's a felon for the rest of her life. Um, and she's just this broken woman who says, she believed him. She trusted him. She believed everything he said to her. And he still writes to her. He still tries to contact her and tell her that he loves her and whatnot. And, talk about nostalgia for her. He had actually brought her whole family into his business. He hired her children, and they had this beautiful blended family. His kids, her kids. It was like the Brady Bunch, but even better. Where he was taking them all on these beautiful Caribbean vacations. And anyway, yeah, talk about narcissists, right? I mean, Dirty John was not the only one. So it's something about the Furniture King. If you will Google that or try to find that, it'll come up. And maybe I'll look for it and put it in my descriptions here, you guys. Okay, you guys. There are a lot of conversations going. Hey, Ruth is on here. Hi. I am so upset about Shanann Watts. How could she have protected herself and her children? We kind of wonder about that because, were there signs that she was ignoring? Probably, I'm guessing. But sometimes you're so enveloped in it, you don't leave. If you watch Dirty John, you'll see that this guy he could have, and he probably would have killed her and her daughters too, her grown daughters, that is, this guy. So Dirty John, that is. It's very hard when you're in the midst of a relationship with a narcissist who essentially has mind control over you. And if you watch Dirty John, Ruth, you'll see he had total mind control over his wife. All of them. He had mind control over all of them. Oh my gosh, there was a story in there about a girlfriend. Oh, you'll see if you watch it. So they did interview not just one of his past girlfriends, but a couple of them, and the things that he pulled on them. You'll see. It's very hard to identify. You're lucky. You are lucky if you're able to see a red flag and bring yourself out of that mind control. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Crystal says, my narc offered to kill people for me. Why did I not run then? Well, I know why now. I was in an abuse fog, but still. Wow. Exactly, Crystal. There was a narcissist I knew. Same thing. Talked about killing people. Talking about knowing people who could kill people. And wanting to get rid of the people who were causing him distress in his life. So I, at the time, I'm thinking, okay, he's got to be kidding. He's, people want to show this bravado, right? Want to act like, yeah, I know people who can do things. And you wonder, like, how much of this is just an act? How much of this is just them trying to pull one on you, And that's the way I saw it. I was like, and I still kind of look back and go, would you have really? I hope not. My hope is no, they wouldn't. But after all that I'm reading about narcissists and psychopaths, just count yourself lucky that you got out. That's all I can say. Count yourself lucky. Like Ruth was saying about Shanann Watts, she wasn't. She wasn't lucky. I mean, these are his own children that he destroyed. Chris Watts killed his own little, and they're little. They're not like adults. These are little girls that worshipped him, sang songs about him being a hero, their hero. That he could get rid of them like that. You guys, it is coming up on an hour here, and I wanted to wrap some things up, but I am going to read some of, the rest of your comments. I do want to get through these. Kathy says, yes, I followed the Watts case. He was definitely a narc. I don't know how she could have escaped. I wondered if she may have been a tad narcissistic too. I think, all of us are a bit narcissistic. All of us want to be loved, want to be seen, want to be admired, by maybe not everybody in the world, but by at least one person, right? Want to be loved in that way. But is that narcissistic? I don't know. I guess, some psychologists would say, yeah, narcissism is a self-preservation type of psychic, or not psychic, but um, just a mental thing where you want to preserve yourself. And with Shanann, she might have wanted to hold on to the image, more than I don't know. I can't tell. I can't say. It's hard for me to watch some of these too much and get obsessed with it. I'm not saying that people who watch it are obsessed, but I can't. It's just it's overwhelming emotionally for me to do that. Kathy, I have a narc survivor friend, met him on YouTube, who is doing very good videos also. Oh, good, based on scripture. His name is Nerd of God. I'll take a look at that too. Miss E. It was an amazing documentary. Watching now how a narc triangulated people his whole life. Yeah, Dirty John, right? It helped me make sense of my own situation and that they really have no soul. Yeah, I would definitely recommend Dirty John. Marietta, holy moly, I'm so happy. Okay, Crystal says that you're away from him. Yeah. Missy says, what about the Patrick Frazee case? Also Colorado. I know. Yeah, his fiance disappeared around, I think it was Thanksgiving, and they still haven't found her. And it's very obvious that he did it. Where I'm not really following that case either. Yeah, you guys, I'm just reading some comments here to see if they're to tie things up a little bit. Kathy, I feel bad promoting other channels on Escape from Crazytown, but I think all the help we can get, the better. Oh yeah, I've seen the Royal We as well, you guys. And I don't want to push away people who are not Christians, and that's why I don't go into scriptures a lot, but I do welcome them here if you guys have them. And sometimes I do put out a scripture or two. But again, I know there are a lot of people who've been hurt by the church and hurt by Christians, and the moment you mention your faith, it pushes them away, and I don't want people to feel that they're not welcome here. They're always, always welcome here. I want them to know that. And I know they're welcome on these other channels too, but it's very hard for them to go there because of the triggers they have. Some have been raised in a very abusive yet religious environment. So, and some are of other religions, So I just want to let people know they're all welcome here. And if you've been injured, if you've been traumatized, and you don't know God yet, or you don't know God and you don't want to, you're still welcome here. And I want you to know that there are many of us here who feel your pain and have walked the same walk you have, and want you to be healed as well. I want to bring hope to them. I don't want, to everybody, because there are some channels out there that don't talk a whole lot about hope and being on the other side and how things are good. They really are, and that you have the power and you have the choice, and not to hate. That's another thing too. I don't want people holding on to hate. It's really easy to be bitter and to talk about all the horrible things that the narcissists have done, and other narcissists too. But if that keeps you in a realm of hate and resentment, unless you use that hate and resentment to get yourself off the couch and off, out of bed and moving, if you're using that hate to dig yourself deeper into a negative mindset, it's not good for you. And I want to bring people out of that. So you guys, okay, let me see what else you guys hear. Yeah, here he blindfolded her to play a game, and then, oh geez, I'm not gonna beat her with a baseball bat. Pure evil. Yeah. That was the guy who abducted or killed his fiance. I should look that up to you guys. I know. I just haven't followed it because it's so ugly. Oh, it just came out. Okay, Missy says his nurse girlfriend who was married helped him clean up and they buried her body together and buried the remains on his property. This just came out. So his fiance was pregnant too at the time, I believe. It was no, not pregnant. I'm sorry. They had a daughter together. That was what it was. Yeah. Kathy says, I was telling my brother I've got to get home to hear Escape from Crazytown. He inquired, what's the lady's name? Me, Oscar. You know what? I will respond to Oscar, Kathy. Mine was same as Chris Watts. Crystal says, looked like a great dad on the outside, right? Pathological liar, serial cheater, double life, covert, mid-range narcissist. HG Tudor did a video on him. Wow. Let's see, Colorado is colorful. LOL. I know. What the heck, Colorado? What's going on over there? Kathy, oh man, how horrible. Okay, you guys, I'm going to wrap things up. It's past an hour. Oh, let me see. You guys, thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you for sharing. I hope that you guys find your opportunity in the middle of this difficult time in your life. And I think you are. I think you really are. I think you're moving on. I think that you're making connections here. And I am so proud of all of you guys for finding optimism, finding hope, and strengthening yourself. I'm so proud of you guys. Marietta says, thank you for being here for us. Oh, don't call me that. You can call me Oscar. I always feel cathartic after these streams. Yeah, Marietta, you may call me Oscar, or I would request this, or you can call me EFC for Escape from Crazytown, or you can call me Escaped. I know it's really easy to say Crazytown, but you guys, we want to escape from Crazytown. We don't want to identify with it. And by the way, I've created something else. It's called Awesome Town. So that's where we want to escape to, is Awesome Town, coming from Lego Movie that I just saw. You guys, have a great day. I love you guys. I pray for you guys, and I hope that you will find lots of hope and lots of healing this week, lots of happies, learn from your crappies, and have a wonderful, blessed week, you guys. Please subscribe to my channel. Please tell people who need to hear a positive message and to move on from their narcissistic ex. Please share my videos with them, and God bless all of you. And I'll talk to you soon.